share with us about your childhood? Were you always aware that you're going to be an engineer? Or how did you come about this career choice?
I didn't really know what I want to be. But obviously, my parents and my teachers noticed that I was a special child. I enjoyed math and stuff like that. But it wasn't up until high school. That was the Tosha Secondary School in Tsumem. Because in primary school, I was first at the village, and then I went to Ongwediva, and then thereafter now I went to Etosha. So that's when I realized my passion for mathematics and physical science. So I took up the science field in grade 11 and 12. I don't know, then I started thinking, okay, I'm doing really well in maths and physics and stuff like that. What career could I possibly do? And my parents wanted me to be a doctor because we don't have a doctor in the family. But then I was like, nah, I'm not really, I'm a bit too emotional. So what else can I do?
Welcome to Career Quest Podcast, your ultimate guide to discovering a world of exciting career possibilities. Here, we provide you with insights to guide your career path and explore various professions, all while sharing stories from professionals who've been where you are, unsure and searching for inspiration. Our vision is to empower young Namibians with the knowledge and inspiration to make informed career choices through real-life experiences. My name is Selma Ndasilohenda Iyambo, your host for Career Quest Podcast, and I'm excited to embark on this journey with you. You can follow Career Quest Podcast on our various social media platforms, that's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at BeFreeNamibia. Check out our website at One Economy Foundation, or you can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you get your podcasts from. Joining us in studio today is Saarty Mikka. She is an electrical and electronic engineer with over 6 years of experience. She has worked in roles ranging from power station engineering to telecommunications, control systems, and commercial operations at NamPower. She holds a Bachelor of Engineering and a Master's degree in Electrical Engineering from Stellenbosch University, specializing in smart grid technology, and she's currently pursuing a Master's of Business Administration in Management Strategy at the University of Namibia. Beyond her engineering achievements, Saarty is dedicated to community services, serving as the Deputy Secretary General of the Namibia Society of Engineers, also known as NASE, and she's also a member of NamPower's Affirmative Action Committee and the Director of the Silicon Institute of Science and Technology, an institute focused on applied engineering and technology education. She is also an entrepreneur and a certified real estate agent. Wow, Saarty. Welcome to Career Quest Podcast. How are you doing today?
Okay, thank you, Selma. I'm doing really great and I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
I hope you're doing well as well.
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking time from your very busy schedule to be here with us. And I know I've read quite a very lengthy biography with so many qualifications, so many roles. But before we can be able to dive into this conversation, what's that one thing that you would like our listeners to know about you?
Okay, well, she has already said my name, but when I'm not studying or learning, even though I really love learning, I feel like continuous learning is my motto. I think I learn something new every day. But apart from everything, I also enjoy reading. And I enjoy traveling as well. I love to hop around all the Namibian lodges and so forth. I also enjoy board games. I don't know if you guys know 30 seconds, but I will play board games the whole night if you ask my friends. Yeah. That's me.
30 seconds is quite popular. And it's great to hear that we don't mostly just focus on to learning, but it's also good to have extramural activities or hobbies that you are able to pursue. Now, with Career Quest, we are all about hearing inspirational stories and just getting to hear more about the individual. Now, can you please share with us about your childhood? Were you always aware that you're going to be an engineer? Or how did you come about this career choice?
Okay, well, I grew up in... I'm a village girl. I grew up in Okatope village in Ohangwena region. So growing up, it's not really like a fancy, environment. It's not very modern. It's the village, of course. So I would play soccer with my brothers. We would make these cars from, what do you call this? It's a plant. No, it's this plant. I don't know if you guys know. It's I forgot what you call it in English, but it would create these big leaves, and we would make cars out of it. And my brothers would also make cars out of wire, like you said. And yeah, so that was basically like how my childhood was like and stuff like that. I didn't really know what I want to be, but obviously my parents and my teachers noticed that I was a special child. I enjoyed math and stuff like that. But it wasn't up until high school. That was the Tosha Secondary School in Tsumeb. Because in primary school, I was first at the village, and then I went to Ongwediva, and then thereafter now I went to Etosha. So that's when I realized my passion for mathematics and physical science. So I took up the science field in grade 11 and 12. I don't know, then I started thinking, okay, I'm doing really well in maths and physics and stuff like that. What career could I possibly do? And my parents wanted me to be a doctor because we don't have a doctor in the family. But then I was like, nah, I'm not really, I'm a bit too emotional. So what else can I do? And then I remember my sister was she's a computer scientist. She's in IT. And I was like, okay, maybe I should do what my sister does, because I think I'm going to enjoy coding, And then I was like, no, maybe it seems a bit too basic. And not to offend anyone, but that's what I felt like at the beginning. And then I was like, oh, there's electrical engineering. I researched into it, and there's also a bit of coding, because I went to Stellenbosch University, and software development and coding was quite a large part of electrical and electronics engineering. And I was like, you know what? I want to do that. And I feel like I could utilize my mathematical skills. And that's how I ended up in electrical engineering.
You said you weren't so sure about what career to pursue, but you knew you were good at math, you knew you were good at physics.
Yes.
Now, were you exposed to the various career options, or how did you go about researching? You said that you looked into it. Was that now through the internet? Were you speaking to people, or how did you go about that?
Okay. So I was very fortunate at the Tosha Secondary School. At that time, we would apply when we were grade 11 already. We could apply to South African universities, and they would like send material and sometimes even people to come and tell us like the different fields that are available or courses that you could apply for. So they told us like what is kind of like involved, what modules are part of electrical engineering and stuff like that. And for me, my focus was more like, what am I good at? Because I don't want to go to university and struggle, because fundamental skills are very important. So as much as like I would get distinctions for accounting, like I was really good with accounting, but I would be sleeping in class. Or not that I'm not advising students to do that, but I could tell that I was bored. As much as like I would be top performer and so forth. But when it was the mathematics class, I was like, energized.
You were energized, and you're like, let's go.
Yes. So I was like, unfortunately, I will not be able to please my parents, but I need to take something that I'm really interested in. And yeah, so through all this now career, I don't want to say career phase, but all these people that would come to our school to tell us about these fields and all that, I learned about these specific fields. I wasn't really familiar with the internet at that time, except maybe Facebook. So it was more like physical pamphlets that I would read and speaking to people as well.
Around which years were those, if I may ask? Because you're like, I'm not a bit familiar with the internet at the time.
It was 2011, I was grade 11, and then 2012, I was grade 12. And I didn't even have a smartphone until grade 12. I used to do little business, and then I got to have a phone, but it was more like for Facebook. I didn't really know, and only when my family came in, like my aunt came in to help me when I was applying online, that's when I started now getting familiar with the internet and all the possibilities that I could use it.
I mean, Facebook was such a big thing at that time. So I fully understand because it was a hit that time and everyone was like, Facebook. I know for some people, engineering is seen as a challenging field. Now, looking at your journey from electrical to electronics, how was it? What were some of the challenges that you incurred alongside now your studies? And then we also now look at your career.
Okay, well, I don't think they are entirely wrong to say that. I mean, it's not to say that there's any field that's really not challenging and so forth, but I can tell you how many late nights that I had, studying engineering. It was a lot. because, most of the practical work required a lot of time to finish, just to figure out what you have to do and so forth. Okay, so obviously, I think one of the main challenges was the education system in Namibia is a bit different. Or let's say in public schools, it's a bit different from private schools, and especially private schools in South Africa. So most of my peers already did coding when they were in high school. And then there is me, who is kind of like starting from scratch. So I needed to catch up every time, already coming from, being a girl and all that. So I needed to work extra hard just to understand and stuff like that. And sometimes to just reach out to my peers who already did coding to help me. So I would say definitely like fundamental knowledge and like the difference in educational backgrounds. That was the first struggle. And also I would say another thing, obviously finances always come in terms of studying abroad or just studying away from home. I mean, coming from the north and then coming to Windhoek, and you don't have the necessary finances to probably fit in with the other students or to just buy textbooks and stuff like that, it can be a challenge. But I guess for me, I was also a bit fortunate. I know you are going to ask me about this, but I had a scholarship for my first degree, so they help me pay for certain things. But pocket money, I struggle with the family to, they always try their very best to provide something. And in terms of my career, obviously, just being a woman in engineering, it's not always easy. You always have to kind of like work even 5 times as hard, Every time I enter a space, I need to make sure that I'm at my best because I wouldn't want people to say, because she's a woman or because, and so forth. So those are the kind of challenges where I wouldn't say really it's a challenge, but I feel like, other people may not always have to work as hard, to keep up with the industry and to showcase what they are capable of. So, yeah, I think those are some of the challenges that I had here.
I'm looking at it from an engineer and working at NamPower. I mean, most of us, when you hear of NamPower, we're like, our lights on. Can you walk us through as to what is a hectic day in your life looks like right now at NamPower?
Okay. Initially, when I started off, I was more in a technical role, like very technical. When I say technical, I mean like going into the field, testing, transformers that you see on most of our substations and stuff like that. But lately, I'm more in a office-based role. It's a commercial role. So a hectic day would be more like when we have to deliver a quotation to a client, like, when we are under pressure from a client, we told them that, okay, we are going to deliver this quotation by, let's say, the 5th of November. And now we have not finalized everything. You have to call so many of your colleagues that we need to deliver this today. You have to finalize the reports and you need to get them signed off before the end of the day to make sure that, and also you need to make sure that the contract to the client is correct, because if you are rushing things, you don't want to now sign wrong contracts with the clients and stuff, because that could jeopardize the company. So I think lately those are some of the hectic days that I have, just making sure that we meet the deadlines and stuff like that. Yeah. Yes.
Saarty, I'm going to go back because I've read quite a lot of accolades in our introduction. Not only are you an engineer, but you're also an entrepreneur, a real estate agent, and I know you've participated in several beauty pageants. How did you come to pursue so many diverse careers? How do you do that?
Okay, well, the thing is, I'm that person who feels like we must not be put in a box. You shouldn't allow people to put you in a box to say that, okay, if you are an engineer, you must only do this, or, you can only do this. I believe that everyone can do whatever they put their mind to. And it's good for the mind when someone also takes up different activities. Like, for example, let's say in pageantry, I really learned how to communicate, I learned how to, I gained speaking skills and just standing in front of people. And sometimes as an engineer, especially someone with my experience, you need to go speak to a client. You need to negotiate. for you to sign a specific contract, and you need people skills, you need communication skills. So those are the kind of things that I picked up. But I think the one way I did it is that I like to plan my time. If you check, and I always tell people this, if you check my phone, in my notes, all my days are planned to the core. I say, I wake up, I eat, I do this, because even eating, sometimes I forget to eat. So it's all about planning your day, what you want to do, what is the priority, and then you tick it off the list, and then you move on to the next item. So that's how I'm able to do all these things. And also, I just utilize technology as well to manage my time. For example, my business is online. I have an online app. So I don't need to, to attend to these clients myself at that time when I'm working on other things, So that's how I managed to do that.
I'm tempted to ask you, did you design your own app?
Well, I had a software developer, but I do most of I'm the one who adds the products. I name the products. So yeah, I wouldn't say that I designed it per se, but we work together with the developers, but I'm the one who is in charge of like adding on the items and how kind of like the interface on how it should look like. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like how should the font look and stuff, like the basic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but I don't think it's something I'll struggle with.
How old are you? Because now I'm curious. I'm like, all this achievement in all this time schedule. How old are you?
I'm 29 years old right now.
29?
Yes, yeah.
I definitely want to be like you when I'm 29 too. Now let's look at the real estate. What's that? Because then real estate, what does that? Is that property related? Can you also just put it out there for our listeners as to what does that entail?
Okay. So real estate is basically, it has a lot of elements, but it's mostly like got to do with either renting out properties. So normally first, the way you start off, you write a test with NAB, that is our Namibia Real Estate Board, and then you get certified to be a real estate agent. You have to pay like yearly fees and stuff like that. And you have to make sure you have like money laundering policies and stuff like that, because the way people buy properties, like people can buy properties from other countries, there's a lot of money movement. So the basically Bank of Namibia and all the other financial institutions are very strict, especially FIA, very strict when it comes to money laundering. So you need to make sure that's it's dealt with. And once now you are registered, you are able to rent out properties, manage properties for clients. So essentially anything got to do with selling and renting out properties, you are able to do that. But for me, the reason why I did the real estate, I honestly believe that everyone should do real estate exams. They should learn what real estate entails, because it's the best way to create wealth. Even just, you don't need to be a real estate agent for you to understand how real estate works. You can just want to take up to buy a property. For example, I do like short-term rentals. I don't know if you heard of Airbnb.
Yes.
So those are things that anyone can do from anywhere, and you don't necessarily need to be a certified person, but you need to understand it. Even when you get someone to manage your property, you need to understand what they are doing. So that's one of the main reasons I decided to do real estate, to also understand my own transactions if one day I want to buy properties or when I needed to buy properties. And even when you are working, as a young person, already when you start working, you need to start thinking big. And there's a lot of things they don't tell us, from a young age, and then we end up making wrong mistakes. But if you end up doing this course, you'll be able to know what you can do with your finances and so forth. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious because now I'm like, maybe I should also do just a course in real estate. But how long does this take? Is this now a full-time basis that you must go to school on, like 8 to 5? Or how does it look like in Namibia currently?
No, a real estate course is not long. It can range from a day to 3 days. You just go the whole day and you get taught. You can even have private lessons. Like there are some people, my peers, that also give classes that help you get ready for the exam. It's basically a certification. So it doesn't take up long. I've seen a lot of working professionals that have done it. Yeah. The good thing is that there is some real estate certifications out there, but they will not be based on Namibian law. So you kind of need to do it with the Namibian organizations. so that you understand it from the Namibian perspective.
Amazing stuff.
Yeah.
Now let's look at interior design, which is also something that you do. Why did you decide to pursue a career in that?
Well, okay, interior design it's more like a passion for me. And I've told a lot of people this before, that when I was in university, you would always find me watching like home makeovers. I don't know if you have seen some videos on YouTube. It's so exciting, looking at people like redoing their homes, because sometimes when you see a property, you don't see potential. And this is the good thing. Real estate goes well with interior design. Yeah. And also my furniture manufacturing business as well. So the three are linked, So I always had interest in that. And also being an engineer, I love lighting. So all this, they may look independent, but they're actually all related. So yeah, I always had a passion to see like the way people would smile when they see their places like renovated and all that. And I wanted to see that. I wanted to see if I make someone a furniture piece, if I change the way their room looks, that happiness on their face. So that's why I decided to take it up. I'm still busy with my course. I had put it on hold while I finished my MBA with the South African Institute of Interior Design. And I want to learn more, about the art behind it, because it's not as straightforward as it may seem. It's like engineering based.
Can I come to you for like some lessons? Because clearly you look like you have so much that you can actually unpack and share. Now I'm looking at your qualifications. You did mention that for your first you had a scholarship.
Yes.
Now for your MBA and your master's, were you self-funded or do you still continue to have scholarships?
Well, for all my degrees after now my first scholarship, NamPower paid for my undergrad. And then when I decided to do my master's, I got a study loan for both the MBA and the MEng, and I'm still paying for them to today, actually.
With that, would you say that's a decision you regret, or are you happily with yourself?
No,
afterwards?
Because I planned and I budgeted. I will not budget that money to use it for my own stuff because it's budgeted for my own studies. But it's just because I'm fortunate to have a job. But I think everyone out there who is not working at the moment, or who knows that the salary is not enough to cater to their studies, they should always seek out for a scholarship first, even if it's even if it's not fully funded, because it is quite a lot of money, and I think I'll be paying for like 4 years and stuff like that. So it's a long time of debt, and I always advise against debt. But if it's something that contributes to your development and hopefully give you access to opportunities, I would say that do it, You must just, obviously, you have to make some sacrifices, and you won't be the first one. I have done the sacrifice. Anyone else can make that sacrifice. And also for the interior design course, I also paid for myself. Unfortunately, because I put it on hold, I need to pay an additional amount just to resume again. Yeah.
She has done the sacrifices. So can you, if it has to do with self-development. Now, you've mentioned about the NamPower scholarship that you granted with your first qualification. Is this something that is still ongoing, and can any of our listeners be able to now actually apply for it, and when does it come out?
Yes, NamPower advertises scholarships they call them bursaries every year. I'm not sure if the due date for this year's ones have already been reached, but they can check on the NamPower website or Facebook or Google. You just type in NamPower bursaries 2024. You should be able to get information. They offer bursaries for both undergraduate and postgraduates, and it's not only engineering. There's also other fields as well. So it's definitely ongoing, and NamPower has been doing this for quite a long time, and we really appreciate it. Yeah.
Amazing. Yes. Now, I'm tempted to ask you, was there ever any pivotal moment where you doubted your career path, and how did you navigate that uncertainty?
Okay. If I'm being honest, I don't think there was ever a time I doubted the career path that I took. Even when things were hard in university, like I didn't feel like, oh, let me go do something else. This is too difficult. No, it was more like, how am I going to do this to make sure that I pass? I have to get this degree. Like this is what I want. Okay, after I was done studying, obviously a lot of new things came out. For example, you can now, I specialized in energy systems, but for example, now you can specialize in data science in Stellenbosch. And a part of me felt like, oh, I wish when I was there we had data
this
science.
was available for me too.
But then in my master's, I did data science, so I kind of like caught up with that. So I didn't feel too bad. But I think I'm a proud electrical and electronics engineer today. I enjoy it every day. So yeah, I didn't really have that moment.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what advice would you give to both young men, women, or boys and girls that are aspiring to enter STEM fields, particularly those that are looking at now pursuing careers around engineering in Namibia?
I think for me, the one thing that I would advise them to do is that they must always seek out to learn. Like, they must continuously learn. Like right now, people, especially the young people, you are born in an era where you have access to technology, you have access to YouTube, ChatGPT, AI. I'm telling you, use those resources to learn. And there is nothing in this world that you cannot learn. For example, already while you are in high school or first year, start learning how to code, because that's the future right now. Everything, robotics, I've heard that you guys have robotics here. It's an interesting field that you can learn on your own. So don't wait to get into university to start learning the engineering concepts. That's what I would advise them. And even when you get into university, learn, continuously learn. Even me right now, 6 years in, or over 6 years in, and I'm still learning. How about you with the young mind? I would advise you to start learning and to take the science modules obviously seriously. Try to see how you can find them interesting. So that's more or less how I would advise them to just continuously learn and just utilize the resources that they have. Yeah.
Great. We do have robotics at the B3 Youth Campus. All you need to do is sign up as a member for as little as $8 Namibian. This can be done via the physical application that you can pick up at the B3 Youth Campus. That is at the Multipurpose Youth Center in Katutura or in Bodell Street. Or you can check out our social media platforms at B3 Namibia, and the link to the application is in our bio, so you can start pursuing your career in engineering, or rather preparing yourself for engineering field. Saarty, I'm going to ask you, you've mentioned some of the challenges that you face as a woman in engineering. Now, what advice would you have to young girls that are also looking at pursuing this career, and those young women that are also in this career that are facing similar challenges? What advice would you give to them?
Okay, so to the young girls, do not be scared. I mean, I'm here, I'm standing tall and strong. So I would say that the young girls, they should just be confident. They should stand firm, in what they want to do. I feel like you should not allow, there's no field that is specifically made for one gender, So I would say take up the challenge, study very hard, and learn, as I have mentioned before, so that it's not necessarily to prove yourself, but knowledge gives you confidence. So I would say, young girls, learn very hard, be hardworking, and take up the challenge. If you are in a group with with now male students and so forth, don't be afraid to say your ideas. Don't hide yourself in a corner. Already, we must show that we are capable from already university before you even come to start working and stuff like that in the engineering environment, so that when those young boys or young men come into the working environment, they've already seen what the girls are capable of. So they will not have that stigma. They'll say, no, but I was with Saarty when we were in university. She was confident. She knew what she was doing. I asked her for help. So yeah, that's what I would advise them. Work hard, learn every day, and show what you are capable of already from a young age. And then in terms of the fellow women in engineering that are also working, in my field, again, is to stay confident. I've done a few interviews where women would come in and you can see that they lack a bit of confidence, or they already feel like, maybe I will not get this or
because
whatever.
I'm a woman.
Yeah. not necessarily because they're women, but it's just that stigma where, like, most of the interviews I would attend is just men. So obviously it's natural for you to feel some type of way when you don't see a familiar, but just be confident, show what you are capable of, and, don't allow any other negativity or inferiority to put you down. So that's what I would add. And also just for those women to mentor young women and young men that are upcoming. Because if we teach those young men or young boys that we are all capable in this field, and that we are able to do this, and women did this, when they come up, just like I mentioned before, they will not be like the ones that came before them, So let's continue inspiring and mentoring young engineers that are upcoming.
Well, let's continue mentoring them. But indeed, knowledge does give you confidence. So don't always stop learning. With every opportunity that you get, please continue learning and empowering yourself. Saarty, what are some of the opportunities available for young Namibians in the engineering sector? And how can they prepare to seize them, seeing that most of our listeners are also young people that are searching for career opportunities that they would like to pursue?
Okay, well, I'm not going to deny that there is currently challenges, lack of job opportunities and so forth. But look beyond Namibia. I've done interviews with companies like Siemens from Netherlands, UK. Honestly, look beyond Namibia, especially when you are just a new graduate. You don't have a family here, you have no commitments and so forth. So you might be able to go abroad and get some skills, because as you can see, some of the other countries, their technology, especially when it comes to telecommunications, electronic engineering, they might be at a higher level compared to Namibia. So if you go out there, you will get some specific skills where when you come back to Namibia, you might be able to get a better role, or you might be in demand. I would say they must look beyond Namibia. Go on LinkedIn, set up a proper profile that indicates what you have, start reaching out to different recruiters from other countries, not only Namibia. Tell them what you are capable of and that you are willing to take a graduate role and so forth. And in terms of Namibia, there is a few graduate opportunities. FNB sometimes has the mines, Swakop Uranium and all the other mines. They sometimes offer internship opportunities for new graduates and so forth. So apply for those. And when you are called for an interview, do not just go there confident. Reach out to Saarty or whoever. Ask Saarty, do you know any engineer at Swakop Uranium? I'm just looking for an introduction to what they do. I will give you the contact details, and then you can speak to them so that when you go there, you know more about the company. I've seen that sometimes as young engineers, you are living in your own bubble, and I know it's not easy. I was also a very shy person, but sometimes you need people to just introduce you to that specific environment so that you can go shine when you go to that interview. So don't be afraid to reach out to professional engineers and so forth to help you get ready for those interviews. I think another opportunity is just to say that do not limit yourself to just what you have studied. I mean, look at me, like I'm everywhere. Like I said, engineering is a broad aspect. My lecturers always used to tell me, we are not preparing you to, we are not teaching you what you are going to do in the work environment. We are teaching you to work anywhere, to be anywhere. That's why if you find Stellenbosch engineers, they are working everywhere. The banks, the what. So don't restrict yourself. You can go to the bank and make a difference. You can go to anywhere, in an IT company, you can go make a difference. So don't restrict yourself. Don't say, I just want to do energy. I just want to do power engineering, because engineering is broad. You are taught to think. You are not taught to memorize and be,
confined to a box.
As I said before. So, I think those are some of the opportunities that are available.
I'm more curious. You wear so many hats, and you've mentioned how you plan your schedule every day from the first task to the last task. But how do you keep up with this intense schedule and navigating these multiple roles, especially when it comes to your mental health as well?
Well, that's a really good question. Obviously, everything is not always jolly for me. I understand all the challenges and things like that. Don't think that I'm probably some perfect person and so forth. But I think I'm generally a positive person. I have this belief that maybe it's because I'm a spiritual person, but I feel like being anxious or worried is not going to change the situation. You know, if I don't get this role or whatever, it's not going to change the situation. Like if I stress about it, they're not going to be like, oh, Saarty is crying or stressed. Let's give her the role. Life does not work like that. So I just think of, okay, what am I going to do better? And move forward and say, let me see a different approach, use a different approach and see if it gets me somewhere and just, keep it moving. But honestly, it just goes back to scheduling. I have yearly plans, what I'm to do next year. That's what I call it. I have to do today, to do next week, to do next year. I have in my notes of all the things that I want to do and achieve. That helps me to navigate to say that, okay, in terms of the interior design, this was not done. I'm going to do it, or I'm going to ask someone, delegate. I love to delegate. Delegate someone to do it for me, and then I can tick it off the list. So that's how I kind of like avoid that stress. So it's just to stay positive and to know that any mistake can be rectified so that it doesn't overwhelm my mind. But it's not to say that I do not get overwhelmed. When I get overwhelmed, sometimes I go home and watch series or sleep, and then I wake up rejuvenated and then I move on to the next thing. And another thing is I don't compare myself to other people. That really keeps me sane. I don't look at the people, just to take you back, when I finished my studies, I was in Polytech for 1 year. Then I said, I don't want to study here. I'm going to South Africa. So most of my peers started working before me because of that. And I remember I wrote a blog where I spoke. It was titled, You Are in Your Own Time Zone. Okay. That means that everyone is working in their own time zone. You cannot look at other people, what they are doing, because you don't know what God has planned for you. Because if I rush myself, I might not have been where I am today. If I wanted to start working the time that these people who started working before me, but maybe they were not happy with what they were doing. If I compared myself to them, I would have ended up stressed and taking my mental somewhere where it shouldn't be. But I decided, no, I'm going to stick to my own time zone. And then that's how I ended up here. So,
I love the sound of that. Stick to your own time zone and do not compare yourself to other people. We all are moving at different paces. And just to highlight something that she said before, create a LinkedIn profile for yourself and reach out to as many people as you can, because you never know. And just while we are at it, how many of us have LinkedIn accounts? Do you know what LinkedIn is? I think this is one of the good moments where you can just be able to go to your web browser and just, type in LinkedIn, so you're able to see and how you can enhance your career, and also just check out the various people with different career options that you may possibly want to pursue. We are moving to my favorite part of the podcast, where we have a quick fire questions with our guests, and they get to answer 3 questions. And those are fundamental questions depending on their career. So Saarty, our first question is, what's the best piece of career advice that you've received in your life?
I would say that is to always seek out mentorship, to have a mentor, and also to continuously keep learning. I think those were the best.
You continuously keep learning. Our second question is, if you could recommend one book, podcast, or resource of aspiring engineers, what would it be?
Okay, apart from this podcast, I would say there's a guy on YouTube called Patrick JMT, at Patrick JMT. I believe that everybody who is studying engineering should learn mathematics, engineering maths from that guy. He will teach you everything on calculus and all the other mathematical concepts that you might have struggled with at the beginning. So already from first year, Patrick JMT.
Patrick JMT. And just not from first year, if you are also grade 11, grade 12 and thinking of pursuing a career in engineering, it's better for you to start while it's early. Our final question is, what motivates you to keep pushing boundaries in your career?
Okay, I would say what motivates me is the fact that a lot of young people, especially women, female engineers, feel inspired by me. Well, they have told me that. So it motivates me to keep pushing boundaries. Every time I feel down and I have to push through certain stereotypes, I feel like there's a young woman who's going to come after me, and I need to do this so that she doesn't have to struggle when she comes at that stage.
Thank you for walking the journey before us, Saarty, and ensuring that women or young engineers have somebody to look up to and somebody who can offer them some sort of mentorship and give them advice to be where you are and even to do better. Because if there's one thing I've learned from one of my mentors is you must always try to pave the way so that when the people that come after you can either be as great as you are or even better, because that's where it comes when it comes to setting a foundation. And with that being said, that's a wrap from our first episode of Career Quest podcast. Saarty, thank you so much for sharing your story, your journey with us, and for taking time to be here with us. It's really been amazing being in your company. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us in this exciting journey. You can follow us at Be Free Namibia, that is on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We love to hear from you. Or alternatively, you can listen to the podcast that is at One Economy Foundation on our website, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcast. And with that being said, thank you for joining us.